Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, a push for ranked choice voting by Democratic politicians. Also tonight, a global panel highlights unique voices discovering new methods for conservation. And we'll learn about an initiative to create community gardens in Phoenix schools. Those stories and more next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Arizona PBS, members of your public television station.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Steve Goldstein in for Ted Simons. Democratic politicians and activists are quietly lobbying to bring ranked choice voting to the 2028 primaries. Tonight we'll look at what this move could mean for future elections and Arizona voters. Joining us, Matt Grodzki, Vice President and Partner at Matters of State Strategies, and Chuck Coughlin, President and CEO of High Ground Incorporated. So Matt, why would Democratic politicians want to do this, and what do you think of it?
Well, some Democratic politicians want to do it. There's been an argument for a long time, and it's actually been done in some states, that, hey, this makes primaries less negative. It gives people more options. So there's pros and cons for both. It's an interesting idea. I think, and we'll get into it, I'm sure, there's ramifications for it, especially in states like Arizona where ranked choice is prohibited. So there's a lot of cost to state parties should this eventually be a thing they decide to do.
So before we get into some of that, Chuck, the Mamdani New York City mayoral race seemed to have influenced this a little bit, but a mayoral race is very different than presidential primaries. What do you make of this?
Well, primaries are different than general elections too, right? So this is a discussion by the Democratic Party for their primary and perhaps electing officers to their own slate of Democratic Party candidates. So yes, as Matt has suggested, it's very different way to elect people. Wouldn't be Donald Trump's favorite way, because that would be massive fraud happening now, because this is giving it to the computers options. And but it is a fair way to allow a candidate to solicit the support from a broader cross-section of the electorate, rather than having the traditional first past the post model of 50% plus one.
And I want to dig into the system in the little time we have, but Matt, I think your point's well taken in the sense that every state, when it comes to this, maybe not every state has different rules, but many states do have different rules. Couldn't this complicate a system that's already fairly complicated?
It could definitely complicate it. The DNC could decide tomorrow, hey, we're doing this, right? But the state parties in each state have to decide amongst themselves. So here we have a state committee. They'd have to vote on that. They'd have to decide this is a great idea, get a majority to approve it. And then they'd be like, great, we're not allowed to do it, and then they'd have to negotiate with every individual county on how they would actually implement and pay for something like that. So not entirely feasible in practice.
So Chuck, let's go back to, obviously you were heavily involved in an effort that might have had ranked choice voting. Exactly, might have had ranked choice voting attached to it. Right, but there was a concern about, even if it wasn't as complicated as people want to think it is sometimes, there was the feeling, okay, we're going to have to teach the electorate something, which can be a challenge for folks in your seat. So when you hear RCV, though, do you think to yourself, okay, maybe there are the modifications, but do we really have to jump into that right now?
Right. I would think top two would be an easier concept to be able to have. That would be the top two vote getters running off against each other in a then subsequent election or in a general election. Alaska does this. Alaska does a ranked choice voting model to elect its state leaders. They do this right now. It is the reason Lisa Murkowski is the senator from Alaska right now, and it is the reason that Mary Pelota is the congressman from Alaska right now. Two different parties, but it's worked well. But again, Alaska is about 500,000 voters. It's a bit smaller than Arizona's 5 million people that live here. So.
Well, and Matt, I've got to dig back into this concept of the whole presidential primary situation. It's with the delegates and trying to collect the delegates. How does that even? Why would you even want a ranked choice system in a primary?
I can understand the concept. Bring more young people in, make it more interesting, give people more options, less negativity. I understand that in theory, but to your point, it's a nightmare, right? You've got different delegates, different rules, different state parties and their various regulations. And where I come at it as a concerned Democrat and a consultant is we've got a very large plane to land in 2026. There's a lot of turbulence. I'd focus all of our energy on that, and then we can have these fun conversations once we've had a successful midterm year.
Well, how serious, Chuck, do you think this conversation is? And are Republicans, I know you're kind of a sort of former Republican for now, until maybe President Trump is off the stage. But so how do you feel about this, looking at it from a non-Democratic point of view?
I think, as Matt just suggested, it's probably too much to bite off right now for them to chew into right now. It's a good long-term conversation to have because I do believe the system does promote a fair inclusion of voters and other candidates, and it truly does represent a majority of the electorate then. And I think it's a very valid way to choose people, but man, he's right. It is very, very complicated.
Matt, let's totally speculate. Obviously,
Sure.
and we're going to look ahead to 2028. So let's just throw out Gretchen Whitmer, Gavin Newsom, J.B. Pritzker, Wes Moore. Let's just put those 4 names out there for the Democrats running in 2028. Is there any advantage to any of them coming from a particular state based on ranked choice voting?
Look, I think in that scenario, it'd be a miracle if we got it down to 4, right? But we're Democrats, right? We like to complicate it just a little bit. So I think you add an extra dozen to that list, right? And then, sure, there's going to be some advantages, when it comes to Arizona. Sure, maybe people that flock from the Midwest, they'll have a special appreciation for a candidate that hails from that area. But there's so many different variables and dynamics. It'll be like March Madness. You're going to be trying to figure out your bracket.
I'll tell you what it would do. It would create a massive amount of public interest. Mm-hmm. It would create a massive amount of public attention. It would be really, really interesting to see what the immediate experience was with that and how, if that could be done, how it could benefit a candidate to do that.
But how much time then does a consultant, like one of the two of you, have to spend time and money in explaining this to the electorate if they're not, even an electorate that's maybe voted in a city council race, and that's really, in some city council races.
Top 2.
Yeah.
It's
so
top 2 system.
If it were a top 2 system, and, instead of ranked choice, if it's ranked choice though, Chuck, and we're talking 4 or 5 people, isn't that a lot of wasted time and money for both of you and many others?
You've got to go run your campaign. From my perspective, you have to run your own campaign. That's we say stick on your yoga mat. That's what we say at High Ground. Don't run somebody else's campaign. Don't be talking about what the other guy is talking about. Talk about what you want to talk about, because that's going to drive your portion of the electorate. I don't think much of that changes, at least from a consultant standpoint. We'd all be doing that all the time, trying to figure out who's where and what constituency do we need to go get more votes.
The only thing I'd add to that is, like, individual campaigns, yes, right. But if you're the state party, it's incumbent on you to explain this to the broader electorate, right? And that can be costly, whether they've got consultants or they're doing it in-house or whatever. And so therein lies a broader challenge. And then you've got the counties themselves, which are nonpartisan, but they still have to explain this, and that's costly itself too. So lots of different variables.
Chuck Hoffman, Matt Grodzki, I'd rank you guys 1 and 2. So thanks for being here. Okay, appreciate it.
It's because I'm shorter.
Well, we had always ranked you double A.
Oh, thanks.
Thursday night at 11 on Arizona PBS. Thursday night at 9:30 on Arizona PBS.
Nothing goes as deep into the soul as music.
Good time never seems so good.
Friday night at 8 on Arizona PBS.
Well, I think the old expression to walk in somebody's shoes is very apropos. I grew up in the South where I saw signs that said colored for the drinking fountain, and the waiting rooms in the train station where it's colored only. I didn't like that. I was in Vero Beach, Florida, and we went to Miami for the weekend, and I saw a sign there that says, for a small hotel, no Jews. I took the sign up and threw it away. I mean, I fought for my country. I felt I was an equal citizen, and everybody who fought for their country should be an equal citizen. And we can make this world a better place if we just try.
A new generation of conservation leaders is meeting to discuss and explore system-based visions to help reshape the way we understand and protect Earth's interconnected systems. Here to discuss how this could change the future of conservation is Peter Schlosser, Vice President and Vice Provost of ASU's Global Futures Laboratory. Peter, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So part of what intrigued me is the phrase "a new vision" is being used in regard to the conversation being held on Thursday. Could you talk briefly about what the current vision is and what that vision could be if it evolves?
Just a little bit of context. Why are we talking about conservation? If we're looking at biodiversity loss is happening at an amazing rate. We lost monitored wildlife about 73% between 1970 and 2020. So that then asks the question of what can we do to stop that and the adverse effects of that loss. And in the past, we looked at that more or less in a static way. We are living in a world that changes very rapidly, so we have to look at conservation as a dynamic system that can follow the pace of change and can find ways to preserve the services of nature, the services that nature delivers to us and to the economy and our well-being in general.
Storytelling is a concept that's used in a lot of ways to think about how we explore concepts. And I wonder how you think storytelling will help be part of this new vision in the sense that it helps to personalize things in a lot of ways. So when we talk about the data, that's obviously incredibly important, but putting the data in context for people to really understand, how important is that going forward?
It is very important. So, for example, if we are looking at how do you prepare people for that, you could take a comparison where you say, let's take a surgeon. If somebody is prepared to be a surgeon, they know exactly what to do. They are prepared not just theoretically, but also in practice to be ready when they go into the operating room, they know what to do. We have to make sure that people who are working in conservation are as prepared as that, which means we have to have immersive learning. We have to, of course, have the theoretical part of it, but we have to get all the learners, which is students, pre-university students, but also lifelong learners. We have to give them that experience on the ground, in practice, with practitioners, so that they are ready to know what to do when they are going into the field.
That leads me to my next question about multi-generational, because one would think maybe the younger folks are more interested, but as you said, we're all part of this planet. So how different does the message have to be if someone is 15 or someone is 80?
The message is the same, but we have to, there is one difference actually. In general, it's the same. There's one difference, and that is that the younger generations, they will live, many of them will live to the end of this century. So they will live in a world that has actually more of the effects of the change. So they have to understand how to react with speed, at scale, for impact. But it does need an intergenerational contract. We cannot say we are just banking on the youth to solve it. We have to work with them. We have to be willing to actually distribute decision power from our generation to the coming generations.
This is a big question. I'm going to ask you to be fairly brief on it. Transdisciplinary. When people are thinking about different aspects, it's not just in one aspect of sciences. It really has to envelop a lot of it. How does that work? How does the compatibility work?
So we cannot just think about counting species. We have to look at how is it done, bring technology in, bring in the economic impact, bring in the impact of climate change, the impact on food security. So you already can see how all this is interlinked and how we have to deviate from the classical approach of one discipline to a theme, and that brings in all the other disciplines. And if you put them together, you transcend the traditional disciplines.
Obviously, what we're talking about is planet-wide, but I'm just curious, my next to last question for you, which is studying this in Arizona, a place where there's climate change effects. There are obviously many effects on different sorts of species as well. What is it like to study that specifically here?
You have to look at the specific conditions. We are living in a region that is getting hotter, and we all have felt that, we feel that. It's getting drier, and that has impact on which even native plants can survive. 2 summers ago, we saw swallows tipping over because of the merciless heat. So we have to look at that, and we have to see what can be done to protect the functions of the ecosystems that support this region.
Peter, thank you for this brief conversation. Whetted our audience's appetite. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm Jeff Bennett. Tonight on the NewsHour, how the Border Patrol has expanded operations into major U.S. cities. That's at 6 on Arizona PBS.
Green Desert is a local nonprofit focused on making sustainability simple and accessible. Recently, they took their initiative into one school to teach kids how to build and take care of their very own garden. We welcome Quita Jackson, president and co-founder of Green Desert. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Give us a CliffsNotes version of how you started the organization and what your passion was.
We started about 20 years ago with just a mission of let's make sustainability easy, simple, and not feel like a chore. We got into the schools recently, like 6 years ago. We started over at Cheatham Elementary, and that goal was let's show these kids it's another lifestyle out there. And, you know, in the schools, sadly, now there are a lot of kids with ailments, you know, high blood pressure, you know, diabetes, things like that. Things that lifestyle can really make a difference, right? And that's what kind of got us into the schools. So recently we did a contest. We had a local company, SWCA, that donated and said, hey, we want a school garden. And we did a contest, and this school won Fairfax High School. And it was a no-brainer because the ESS class came and they were so just authentic. We knew this was something that they could really use. You know, it teaches them some real life skills. And for them, it's independence, it's cooking, it's the environment, it's, you know, gardening, you know.
Well, I want to get into the generational aspect of it briefly because, as you said, a lot of people say to themselves, yeah, I believe in that, but wow, this is going to be really inconvenient for me. And how have you worked to change that perception? And then part two of it, is it easier to deal with younger people with that because their perceptions are not as ground into them? Obviously, the older we get, the more stubborn we get.
Right, we'll start with the part two because you are so right. Kids are so much more fun, right? As adults, we make things just difficult and, you know, it's convincing. And I'm all about, I want to have fun and we know what we need to do, right? So with the kids, it's just so much fun because they want to learn. They are really, really excited. They're wanting to touch worms and things. You know what I'm saying? Something I wasn't that interested in, right? But they want to taste the food. They're learning about different things and they're really out there. I mean, who'd have thought kids playing with dirt again, right? But they are out there. They're helping plant, they're helping harvest, they're helping cook. We're out there once a month, and these kids now, a lot of them have gardens at home. I mean, it's in it, and it affects the community.
Right,
you
so
know?
they can influence their parents or grandparents to go this way too.
They take food from the garden home.
So let's talk a bit about Fairfax, if we could.
Yes.
The kids obviously were heavily involved. They were very influential when it came to this.
Yes.
Were you able to get a feeling, whether going back to Cheatham or not, that the kids were they eager right away, or did they need a little gentle prodding to get into it? Because again, I'm really obsessed with this generational part of it. But if kids who hadn't been exposed to gardening, were they thinking, oh, either I don't think I can understand this might be hard, or I'm not interested, or were they like, this is something new and I can really make a difference?
I would say more of the kids were more excited about it. You did have some kids that, oh, there were bees or worms and things, but we literally took the worms around the classrooms, and now that's the most exciting thing for them is the worms, and then when are we going to eat? Yeah. You know, so they actually get to help. They are cooking. They're going through the whole process. And like I said, they get to take food home and they cook at home. They take pictures and show us we're using this at home. So it really is something the whole community can do.
Don't rush on this answer, but we've only got about a minute and a half left. Okay. I want to know how going more green, reducing your carbon footprint, has affected your life. This has obviously been a passion of yours for a long time, as you mentioned. So in what obvious ways, or maybe less obvious ways, has it made a big difference in your life?
I would say, you know what, I started with just gardening. It was just, I just want to be healthy. I want everybody to be healthy and just to be happy and have fun. And the more I did it, the more I learned, the more I started to learn about how much we needed to conserve water. I started to learn, you know, it really took it a whole nother level for me. My garden is my peace. So I'm all about that. I'm all about the chickens and nature. And so because I'm so excited and passionate about it, I think that comes across to the kids as well, and it makes them want to continue it as well. You know, over at Fairfax, they even got a mural. They named their, garden Betty's Roots. Oh, wow. And I don't know if we had pictures of the mural, you guys will have to see, but we have our opening this upcoming Monday, and they named it. They are involved in the whole process, and I think that's what makes the difference. It's not, I'm telling you what to do and I'm lecturing you. Yeah. I'm actually giving you a say in it, and so I think it makes a big difference.
Well, in our last few seconds, so is there, are there opportunities to expand the program, go into even more schools, and really spread it around?
Yes, if I had it my way, we'd have a garden in every school. But we are nonprofit, so right now we're dealing with donations, and that's how this last school, like I said, one company said, this is what we want to do. So, donations, volunteers, all of it makes a huge difference. So every schools can contact us and say, this is what we want to do, and we find a way to make it happen.
Okay. Quita Jackson of Green Desert, thanks so much for being here.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
your time. And that's all for this edition of Arizona Horizon. I'm Steve Goldstein in for Ted Simons. Thanks so much for watching.
Hello, I'm Alice Ferris, and we hope you enjoyed Arizona Horizon. For more than 40 years, viewers in Arizona have relied on Ted Simons and Arizona Horizon for in-depth coverage of issues of concern to our community. As you are probably aware, federal funding for Arizona PBS has been eliminated. For this station, that total was a little over $2 million. We may be defunded, but we are not defeated. We will continue to serve the Arizona community, but your financial support is needed now more than ever. And to help us make up that $2 million shortfall, the James and Barbara Ratcliffe Charitable Fund is providing an opportunity for you to double your donation. That's right, make a generous gift right now and double the impact, as every dollar you donate will be matched dollar for dollar by the James and Barbara Ratcliffe Charitable Fund $100,000 gift. So your contribution can go twice as far.